Welcome, everyone, to part two of my three-part mock draft for Inside the Birds. I'm Adam Caplan. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to review my first 11 picks. Then today we will continue with 12 through 21. And then early next week will be the finish of it, of my first round mock draft entry for this year's draft 2025. So we'll go over these picks now, and I'll give you a little bit of additional intel as I get it going forward over the next several weeks. But here's where I'm at. Let's start at number one. So, and you could, by the way, you could listen to all this if you're catching this one but didn't hear the first one. Just go to YouTube if you want to see the visual, or you could obviously listen to only pod version. It's whatever you want to do, however you want to consume. So let's get to the Titans. The quarterback needy Titans. I went with Cam Ward, the quarterback from Miami of Florida. No offense to Shedeur Sanders. Ward's clearly the better quarterback. Everyone I've talked to in the NFL, people have done homework on him, background checks and all that, tell me that it's not close between the two of them. I've got him going to the Titans, who need to get the quarterback right. Get it right, and you don't have to draft a quarterback for a long time. Cleveland Browns, with Ward going there, they're going to go with the best player available at least at a future need, and that's Abdul Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State. Folks, you always have to look at contracts and situations when you try to figure out mock drafts and how teams will go. For the people who just started doing mock drafts and had not done before, don't get so caught up in current needs. It's about the future first, then with an eye on current needs. There's really, when you look at it, there's no left tackle you're going to take. You're not taking Genti at number 2. Sure, they could use receivers, but they don't need to take a receiver there. Obviously, if Cam Ward drops, he would be the guy. But again, for the Browns, there's no one there. Abdul Carter is by far the best player on the board. They take him, and this is a home run pick for Andrew Berry, their general manager. At 3, now this is where it gets tough. So one of the big reasons why I go to the combine is to get an evaluation of the player value. Shedeur Sanders is going in the first round. Is he going in the top 5, 10, 15, 20? That's one player I'm not totally clear on. One thing is abundantly clear: the Giants must solve this quarterback issue now. Everybody says, "Oh, well, you could trade down." You don't know that. Like you don't know if there's value in trading down. And then if you're the Giants and maybe you like Sanders, you think you might be able to get him at 10. The worst thing that happens if you trade down at 10 and someone trades in front of you, like the Eagles did when they got Devontae Smith some years ago. And it didn't work out so well for Dave Gettleman, the Giants, who was the GM then. You got to be careful with this stuff. So in my next mock, which will be early next week, if I already have a good feeling where Sanders is going to go in terms of what area, I'll let you know. But right now, I've got Sanders going to the quarterback needy Giants at number 3. And number 4, again, the best player on the board with a current need and a future need, it's clearly Travis Hunter. He will be drafted as a corner. That's everything I've been told as a corner. You could use him occasionally as a receiver. This is not Deion Sanders here back 30 years ago. You got to be careful of how much you overwork a player. Deion, of course, he was a leadoff hitter and a center fielder for the Atlanta Braves. And then he, of course, was a unbelievable cornerback for the Falcons. But we're just talking about in terms of playing 2 different positions. It's hard to do that. But Hunter is an incredible football player. This is a great pick for the Patriots, who are very young, by the way, and talented. They just need better coaching, which they'll get, and need to do a better job of developing their players. So we'll go with Travis Hunter at 4. The Jaguars, we put in Mason Graham, the first Michigan player, is going to go off the board here at defensive tackle. It's a need pick for the current situation and for the future. If Travis Hunter shockingly dropped to 5, he's going there. They're taking Travis Hunter if he went there, but he's going to the Patriots. At number 6, we've got McMillan, the stud receiver from University of Arizona. There is no quarterback there. I don't see a corner going that early. They need one. They need a running back, receiver, D tackle, DN, but the best player on the board is McMillan, the receiver out of Arizona. At 7, we've got Tyler Warren to the Jets. This is, to me, the earliest he'll go. I know it's not ideal taking a tight end. He's definitely the best player on the board. And here's another corner piece with Wilson, with Warren. You get that. You've got the running back in Hall. You're cooking with oil here, but they got to get the quarterback. At number 8, edge rush. There's no team that's more needy at edge rush than the Panthers. There's some that are close, but the Panthers are number 1 with the edge rush need. They're going to go with Michael Williams here, the edge rusher of Georgia. At 9, the Saints also. Now, Jalen Walker could play inside backer. outside backer. He's a very multi-talented player. They just have to figure out how they're going to use him there with Brandon Staley expected to be the defense coordinator. So we're going to go with Jalen Walker, a linebacker who could be an edge rusher for the Saints, another Georgia player, back-to-back Georgia players. Number 9 to the Saints. 10, Mike Green. You're going to hear a lot of him. If you don't follow draft closely, you might not know about him. Anyone in scouting knows about Mike Green, who's going in the top 15. The Bears, another team that is a major need for edge rush. As I talked about in the first iteration of this mock draft, I talked about the offensive line, and I'm well aware that fans want them to address the offensive line. You don't want to overreach for interior linemen. This is not the time to do it. Take the more valuable position. Mike Green is that guy. Number 11 to finish off the first 11. The Niners need the tackle help. They need corners, receivers, edge, linebackers. The best player on the board here. It's close because the guy that I go at number 12 is very close. I could change my mind in the next time when I do the second mock draft, but right now we're going to go with Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, another Michigan player going in the top 11. All right, let's get to 12 through 21. The Cowboys. Yes, they need a guard for Zach Martin. We know that. I don't see quite the value here. They need a running back. Yes, the running game was a joke last season. Rico Dowdle did a yeoman's job for what he is. He's not a starting running back. He should never have been. He's a decent backup. They need D tackles. Yes, I'm aware of it. Edge, yes. They need a fusion of talent there. I don't see the value there, though. Receiver, linebackers, corners, they need it. The best player on the board is this guy's got tremendous upside. Walter Nolan, the D tackle from Mississippi. It was very, very talented. This guy, I mean, could he go in the top 10? Yes. I'll be interested to see how people see him here, who's an underclassman. So much upside. To me, he's the best player on the board, and I've got him going at number 12. The next guy, I'm sure the Dolphins would have taken Nolan here. They have a need at D tackle in a big way. They need interior linemen. They've never really gotten it right under Chris Greer on the offensive line. That's one area he's just not have done a good enough job. He's drafted otherwise fairly well, but offensive line, they need help, but there's just not a value there. They need backers. They need edge rushers because of the two starters who are hurt. Although Chop Robinson opened some eyes. They could use another guy, but they don't need to take one now. The best player on the board, no, that's questionable. Whether there are 3 or 4 players I like here. This is more of a current and future need. It's Kenneth Grant, another Michigan player, the D tackle. This fills a need for now and for the future. Let's go to number 14 to the Colts. Now, some people are going to go, why would you take this guy this early? Well, no, they're going to say, why would you take this position this early? I get this sentiment. But Chris Ballard is an average drafter. He's not bad. He's not really good. He's okay. And one of the areas where he's completely failed is the tight end. There are a bunch of average tight ends. He's never really gotten it right there. Chris has done a good job on the offensive line. Had some success with Michael Pittman and others at receiver. But tight end, it's just been a bunch of average players. Colston Loveland is the best player on the board. I know it's crazy, too. Another Michigan player. He's not getting past Denver. In fact, even if the Colts don't take him, I mean, you can make a case at 17, he doesn't get past the Bengals at 17. So we're going to give Colston Loveland, the Michigan tight end, the pick here. I love the pick. Yes, they could use an interior offensive lineman. I could change my mind depending on the value when I get more value intel on some of these interior offensive linemen. I typically like the wait. Now, the only time you really want to take a tight end early is when they're so much better than everyone else at the position, and they're one of the best skill position players, which Loveland is. You take them. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks. You just got to be right. It's a good pick for Ballard here at number 14. May not be popular, but I like the pick. Atlanta, number 15. They're another team, dire needed of an edge rush. They have to do this in terms of addressing their edge rush. Their other needs are safety, corner, and D tackle. D tackle is a consideration here, but when you look at their situation at edge rush, I mean, they just have not gotten it right. They've got to get it. They've got to be able to compete in that division or compete in the NFC. They've got to be able to get the quarterback. They don't. They're bad at it. We're going to go with Nick Scrouton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M, right here at number 15. So starting at 11 so far, 12, we've got Walter Nolan, D tackle from Mississippi to the Cowboys. Kenneth Grant, the D tackle from Michigan, to the Dolphins. The Colts go with Loveland, the tight end, to the Colts at 14. Scorton, however you say it, Scorton, I guess is how you pronounce it. To the Falcons. This is a great pick. They have to do this. This is a current need and a future need. Any way you look at it, this solves a major problem for now and for the future. Scorton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. And then, see, it's interesting. So we're going to go to the Cardinals next. Now, last year I got this one right. A couple months before the draft, I had Darius Robinson going there for John Gannon, just knowing the kind of scheme he runs. I know Robinson didn't do much because he was hurt with a calf injury. Guy's a good football player, high character guy. I'm expecting him to play much better and definitely contribute. But they need edge rushers in the worst way. It's running really, really thin. Scorton's teammate, Shamar Stewart's going to be the pick. It depends on who you speak with, who's going to be higher graded. My early intel says Scorton, but I could change my mind depending on who I speak with this coming week. I'll be at the Combine, my 24th year for 7 days. Oh, joy. I do like it, though. You don't need a car to go at the Combine. You can just walk around, so it's great. But Shamar Stewart, the other edge rusher from Texas A&M, is the pick here. Man, we're running low here. We're running low on edge rushers, man. He's got great size. He's got a lot of talent. You're going to hear a lot more of him. And boy, does Gannon need it for his defense. And Monty Ossenfort needs to do this. Let's go to 17 to the Bengals. Remember, they need a tight end. There's not a tight end you would take. They need tackles. T. Higgins, they need a receiver depending on what happens with him. They need guards. They need interior linemen. They can use another corner, another nickel, depending on what happens with re-signing their veterans. So we're going to go with the best player available. Now, the guy I might be out in front of this one. Some people might not agree. Derek Harmon's going in the first round. I don't care if anyone's talking about it or not. I don't subscribe to that stuff. It means nothing to me. I don't care what NFL people think. This guy's a fantastic football player. He's going in the top 25. I don't call this a reach or too early. This guy's a starter day one for, remember, they cut Sheldon Rankins. They saved over $10 million in cash. The Bengals did on Friday. That was expected. But Harmon will replace him. He'll be a starter day one. This is a good pick for them, for a team that needs help on defense. Derek Harmon, particularly in the interior, it's Derek Harmon. Now, this next pick, the Seahawks are really poor at guard. They're not good enough. There are a number of guards. They're probably 4 to 5 guys to look at. Again, it's what do you like? Gray Zabel's the guy out of North Dakota State who had a very good Senior Bowl week. He's a very interesting football player. Zabel's one of these guys. Some scouts, personal people might say, you know what? I think he's early second, late first. He could play guard. He might be able to play right tackle. We're going to play him at guard the Seahawks are okay at tackle. They need a guard. They need a D tackle. I get that. Last year I got it right with the D tackle I gave them. And I'm not saying that I know this one, not that I knew. I mean, the teams aren't going to tell you who they're going to take, but you kind of know from intel how they see their team. And it's got to be a guard here or a D tackle. I don't see the value in the D tackle quite right now. So we're going to go with Gray Zabel, the guard from North Dakota State for the Seahawks. Number 19. Yes, folks, Bucs fans, I know you need a edge in the worst way. I don't see the value of a edge rusher here. Yes, they need an inside backer. They're not taking one here. There's no value. They could use a guard. I don't see the value. The best player on the board. In fact, this guy that I'm going to talk about at corner, I've got him going anywhere from 10 to 22-ish, 10 to 21, really, to the Steelers, maybe, if he made it. It's Jahdae Barron, the corner from Texas, who's terrific. See, folks, it's not about depth is not about how many players you have. It's about the talent of your players. Barron's better than any corner that they have. Barron's a great pick for Jason Light here at number 19. Number 20, the tight end's gone. Loveland's gone. Long gone. They need a running back. We know Javonte Williams is a free agent. They need a D tackle, inside backer, and a safety. Ashton Genty, this is where it starts. You start talking about him. And you know they will run the ball with Sean Payton. This is the best player on the board. He is going to the Denver Broncos at 20. At 21, to finish this one out, I've seen this guy. I've probably seen this guy play, not every game in his career, but I've seen Luther Burden play a ton. I'll be interested to see what he measures next week, the Combine. This guy's a stud, absolute stud receiver. He will be a starter on day one if he makes it to the Steelers. He's the best player on the board for the Steelers here. We'll look at other receivers too in the next mock. We'll see if I could find anyone who NFL people think is better than him. But right now, to me, he's the best receiver on the board. There's no quarterback you would take here. Not right now. Now, I may change my mind for a certain Mississippi quarterback, but not right now. We're going to go with Luther Burden, the receiver out of Missouri, who would be a starter on day one for the Steelers. So, to finish this off, 12 through 21, Walter Nolan, D tackle to the Cowboys out of Mississippi. To the Dolphins, who need a D tackle, Kenneth Grant from Michigan. 14, Loveland, the tight end from Michigan, to the Colts. Falcons at 15 need edge, Scorton, the edge from Texas A&M. Back-to-back Aggies. For the Cardinals, Shamar Stewart, the edge from Texas A&M. To the edge needy Cardinals, 17, Derek Harmon. To the D tackle needy Bengals, there's no tight end you would take. Gray Zabel goes to 18. The guard, he'll play guard for the Seahawks. They need guards. To the Seahawks at 18. 19. Did I do 19? Did I miss him? No, I didn't. Jahdae Barron, the corner from the Bucks, this is the best value on the board, a position of current and future need. It's not a current need in having enough players. It's in a talent. They need a talent upgrade, and Barron is that guy. 19, 20. Love this pick. Ashton Genty, starter day one. They get their guy at 20 for Sean Payton. At 21, they are in dire need of receiver. Then they could use Wilson as their third receiver. And they'll be good. They'll be Ben Pickens. Obviously, they have to kind of get his deal done here. He's now played 3 years, but this will help them with their burden. This helps their passing game. Their offensive line is going to be good. They got to get the quarterback, but Luther Burden would be it for the Steelers. So you've heard 1 through 21. Next week, early next week, Monday or Tuesday, we're going to give you 22 to 32. I'll have some more intel because I get there Monday, so I'll start gathering intel, a little bit better intel. I know some people are like, "Where's Kelvin Banks, the tackle?" He's still on the board. There's some good players still on the board. Will Campbell. I've got mixed reviews on him about where he should go, what position he'll play. So that's kind of why he hasn't gone yet. But anyway, folks, enjoyed it. We'll talk to you soon.